So, our next module in Volunteers of America's sort of interview series with a focus on workforce development is the power of your communication style. Understanding how identifying your communication style quickly establishes confidence and gives you authority on your job interview. So, today we're going to be highlighting some factors that are going to not just build confidence, but these are going to be some factors that will allow you the ability to really take ownership of the interview itself and without arrogance and strictest humility you'll be able to really secure that job. And it all starts with knowing your communication style and the power of it. So let's begin. There are four types of communication styles, and a lot of scholars and psychologists will break this down. Usually there's always four. Sometimes they'll be labeled something else, they'll be labeled differently, I should say, but there's still four. And this is a little different than the personality assessment or personality type or personality quiz. This is strictly communication style. We're going to talk about highlighting the strengths of each of these styles. Okay, because you fall into one of these categories, believe it or not. Some of us fall into multiples, but there's usually a communication dominant style. That's what we'll be focusing on today. And then, after we've highlighted those strengths, we're going to embrace the challenge areas. None of us are perfect. None of our deliveries or communication styles are complete. All right, we always have room for growth. But on the interview, instead of finding ways to avoid certain questions and wiggle out of certain things, we're going to embrace them. And just by knowing what your style is, it's going to help you embrace a challenge area and really showcase how it's a major strength. All right. Okay. So first off, before we get started, it's a quick exercise we want to partake in. And I'll go ahead and read the instructions, and I want you to make mental note of your choice. So, selecting only one of the choices below, would you rather, number one, read a book to a large group of people? Number two, write a very creative book on any topic of your choice. Number three, edit a book paying careful attention to grammar, punctuation, and formatting. Number four, sit quietly and be read to. You enjoy listening to others. Go ahead and look through these four options. And as you choose your option, the numbers correlate to a shape and color. Number one, those of you who have selected that as an option are going to be the gold sphere. If you selected number two, you are a green triangle. If you selected number three, you are a blue square. And if you selected number four, you are a red pentagon. All right. Let's see what these shapes mean. These shapes and these choices correlate to an actual communication style. And while we don't have time to go through the entire communication exercise, because it can take about just under an hour to really flesh it out, we take a really quick stab at trying to identify where you best belong. Those of you who said you'd rather read to a large group of people are the directors or the leaders, okay? This is the driving style of communication. We're going to visit each of these in depth, but that's what you are based off one question that pretty much sums up a great deal. Those of you who got the green triangle or selected, hey, I'd rather write my own story, you guys are expressive and animated, okay? You are the folks that take life by the horns, you jump in, you talk with your hands. All these are very valuable, okay? One is no better than the other. If you pick the blue square, you are analytical or systematic. These are the people who would rather edit the book and find mistakes, okay? Not that you're critical, it's just that you have an eye for detail. That's all it means. And instead of getting in front of people and instead of putting on a show, you rather just correct folks, okay? And then finally, the red pentagon. You all want to be read too. You rather listen. This is a valuable trait. You guys are agreeable, amiable. You're the people who are easy to get along with. And before I go to the next slide and dive into what these mean, the point to understand is that no matter what color shape you are, you can add tremendous value to a company. Each company needs more of you. Each company needs more yellow spheres. Each company needs more green triangles. Each company needs more blue squares. And every company needs more red hexagons. So let's see what this is all about. What's my style? Those of you who got the leader or driving style or the direct communication style, here's what it means. People who communicate with the driving style tend to take charge, preferring to be in control and work independently. They are decisive and high achievers, and they thrive on competition. They often maintain a fast pace and work single-mindedly on goals. That's their style. We need this at a company. You need folks who can get into a situation, who can get into a factory, who can go into an office, who can go into an electrical plant, who can go into a hospital and start to make decisions and get things done. There is no shortage. There's no excess of these people out there. There's always a shortage. So if you fell into this category, your skills are needed. Okay? If you fell into this category, think about the kinds of roles that might fit well with you. Think about the types of occupations and careers you want to entertain. You probably would not be a good you know, follower in the sense of not being able to use some of your leadership abilities and acumen. You're going to be a leader, so think about roles that center around leadership. Doesn't mean you're going to be the boss, whatever it is. If you guys picked a yellow sphere, doesn't mean you're going to be the CEO tomorrow. But it does mean you are aligned and you need to be looking for companies who value what you bring. Next, what's my style? Some of you got the expressive or animated. That's the green triangle. You rather write your own story. And here's what that means. These communicators are enthusiastic and friendly and enjoy being around other people. Because of their positive focus and lively nature, expressive style communicators are well suited to high profile public facing roles. These are like the PR people. These are the motivators at the power plant. These are the joke tellers at the factory. These are the outside of the box / creative thinkers in the retail store. Okay? These people see the world a little differently, and we're glad they do. If you fell into the expressive or animated box, know that you add tremendous value to a company. We need people like that. We need your perspective. And if you can get a handle on that, and if you can align yourself with jobs and careers that want these types of communication styles, you're going to do really well. Next, style is the analytical or systematic style. Some of you picked the blue square. And here's what it means if you pick the blue square. These communicators make objectivity and accuracy a priority. They make decisions based on facts rather than emotion-driven judgment. Analytical style communicators rely on data, making them excellent at solving technical issues, and they tend to be persistent in their analyses. These are the folks who want the numbers. These are the folks who get the data right. These people see the world in terms of logic and reason, and we need those people on the team. While we value a leader, and while you don't get very far without an expressive or animated personality or communication style, the analytical piece is so important because they are the ones who understand what actually can be done, and they are going to be governed by logic and reason. You need them on the team, okay? And I want you to think about roles, if you pick the blue square, that will help you grow your analytical style, but will allow you right away to go ahead and do some number crunching and look at reports and do some IT work. These communicators are well suited for logging data, and they can take in lots of information. They don't need lots of frills and stories and narratives and enthusiastic folks around them. They just want to get it done, and they want to let logic be their guide. That's a great style to have. And finally, our last style is the agreeable or amiable style. And here's what it says about you. These communicators value warm interpersonal relationships. They often have good counseling skills, and others come to them for support because they are good listeners. These communicators are cooperative and enjoy being part of a team because they are reliable and steady. And I know some people are thinking, oh, yeah, I'm all for. No, you're not. You are not all for. You're barely two. Most of us are just really one, although we operate in all four because you kind of have to in certain situations. But let's focus on the agreeable style. These people make the world turn around, make it go round. These are the folks that are the listeners. These are the empathetic people. These are the nurturers. These are the ones who value warm relationships. Your nurses, your kindergarten teachers. If you're in corporate America, these are your customer service reps. These are also your counselors and sort of HR folks in corporate America who can kind of listen and kind of understand, or at least they should be able to do that. Whatever industry you choose to go into, our job is just to let you know your style matters. And we need all four of these equally across the board. So, how do we embrace the challenge areas? When you're on that interview, equally important to identifying one's communication style strengths, which we've just done, is one's ability to embrace the unique challenge areas while on the interview. People are going to ask you, hey, tell me your strengths. I'm just giving you four, and you pick one of those and you go with it. That's going to be strong. But then they might ask you about a challenge area or a time you did not succeed. Here's an example, and here's how it can sound. Hello, Mr. or Mrs. Veteran. Thank you for applying to this company. We're glad to have you on board. We heard a lot of great things about you from VOA. You've answered some questions for us already, but now we want to talk about some challenge areas. Where have you struggled communicating with others? Veteran's response. Oh, well, thank you for that question. That's a fair one. I'm very analytical by nature. And that means that I'm going to process things in a more logically based way. Sometimes I'll let reason sort of kind of govern my decisions, but I've learned to really allow empathy more space in helping me make those calculations. One time I was at a company, and the goal was to whatever. Okay, you guys see how it's going. You can fill anything in, but you want to start it off that way. And as you start talking about you being very analytical and reason driven, that recruiter may start nodding their head. They may say, yeah, me too. Well, you've already kind of showed them that you and he or she share similar ideas and have a similar style, okay? And wherever you go from there, it can work. We're not going to give you an actual example because we don't want you just using one here. You have your own, but know that you embrace the challenge area. Here's another example. Hey, Mr. Veteran. Hey, Mrs. Veteran. Tell me about a challenge area. Hey, I'm very agreeable. That means I listen a lot. And sometimes, I'm the one people come to for counseling. So often, I've let that kind of get in the way of my other responsibilities. And while it's important to listen and be concerned about others, I'm learning that I have to always put my foot down, so to speak. All right, stuff like that. We're not going to change a negative into a positive. We're just going to embrace the negative by showing we have a command over it. And that is it. So, hope you enjoyed that. And please see our other resource list for any other materials you may need.